Hey everybody, it's Mike. I'm going to do a haul video today. I have stacks of stuff that I want to get filed, so I need to get through these. I've been waiting to do this until I started my channel. This is stuff that I have received uh, in late January, February, and March. Most of these were uh, discounts, things that I found at yard sales. We also have a little Humane Society thrift store that I frequent. All their Blu-rays and DVDs are $1. And then some other things that I got from Family Video and a few other places. This is my non-horror haul for the last few months. It looks like I spent a lot of money, but really I did not. I didn't pay full price or even close to full price on most of this. A few things from Best Buy, of course, I paid for, but you know, you got to pay it if you want it, and it's new. So let's start out with my Target haul. I used the Cartwheel app, so I got some good prices on this. And one of the things that I bought at Target was the Mr. Mr. Rogers biop, I guess, called "Won't You Be My Neighbor." This is really good. Yeah, it's one of those movies that if you grew up in the era of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, this will mean a lot to you. He was an interesting guy. But yeah, this was from Target. I also got Bohemian Rhapsody at Target. I have not watched this yet. As far as the DVD, I saw it at the theaters. But yeah, it's also an excellent movie, and I was a huge Queen fan growing up. Another One Bites the Dust was like one of my all-time favorite songs. But you know, even some of the songs that didn't really hit for them, like Fat Bottom Girls, yeah, it was good and interesting to learn about Freddie. He was quite the guy. All right, now here's some of the stuff that I picked up at the Humane Society little thrift shop. I mean, they have it's sort of like a Goodwill, but it's smaller, and all the money goes back to take care of the animals at the Humane Society. So I try to give them stuff that I think they could sell, as well as buy from them. So one of them was a movie that I had at one point. But got rid of. It's a Christmas movie. I do collect Christmas movies, so this one is called Hitch for the Holidays. It has Joy Lawrence in it. It's a cute little movie. Okay, here comes a cat. She's gonna bother me. I also picked up a couple Blu-rays there. This one was actually not even This one was not actually unwrapped. And that was 500 Mile Per Hour Storm. I love disaster movies, so I was happy to get this one, and so cheap. It stars Casper Van Diem and Michael Beach. I have no idea who he is, but it should be a fun little cheesy movie. Inez, go away. Okay, so a couple movies that I picked up at, I want to say Big Lots. I can't remember, but these are upgrades for me. I have the DVDs, but Twister, one of my all-time favorite disaster movies, and then a movie that I loved, Kevin Costner. I still like Kevin Costner. I'm not sure that his later stuff got the credit that it deserved. But I did pick up Waterworld. Not my favorite movie of his, but it got so much hate, and it really wasn't that bad compared to some of the other stuff. It was just long, and he loved making epic movies, and he wanted this to be an epic movie. And this and The Postman, they both got a lot of hate, but I didn't mind either one of them. All right. This was a pickup, I believe, from Walmart. I do not go into Walmart too often. The only reason I would go into Walmart is if one of my housemates wants me to pick up either some cat food or litter or whatever. But they had this in the discount bin. I've never owned Mask, which is weird because I love Cher. But I used to have tons of movies and tons of albums, but when I moved from Illinois to Georgia, I got rid of a lot of stuff. Sold a lot of stuff at garage sales and donated quite a bit, and a lot of my movies went. So I just went ahead and replaced this. So I did have this at once. All right, this next little stack comes from a Instagram store. It's Sarah's Films, the number 4 sale. She has lots of DVDs and Blu-rays, occasionally a couple other things on there, but it's all really cheap. Most of the stuff was $3 or $4. It was very cheap over the long haul, and I was able to pick up stuff that I don't have anymore. So Casper. Loved Casper. Used to show this in my classroom quite a bit around Halloween time with Bill Pullman and Christina Ricci. This was on her site, so I picked that up. And this was really cheap, like a few bucks. This was $1 or maybe even 50 cents. Not the biggest Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. The Terminator, of course. Terminators were good, and he's had a few movies out, but I did like this movie. I love the kind of scariness about it, but one of the few Arnold Schwarzenegger movies I would ever own. I also got a documentary about 9/11. I remember 9/11 like it was yesterday. I was teaching. I had my 6th grade class in the library, and our janitor came running in the library saying, they've attacked the World Trade Center, and turned on the TV. It was a very, very dark day at our school. Parents coming to get their kids. I'm like, we live in Springfield, Illinois. There's not anything going to happen in Springfield, Illinois, but parents were still concerned. So it took us all by surprise. So I'm happy to have that documentary. I also picked up Halloween. I used to have this a long time ago. This was really cheap on her site. So yeah, Kevin Bacon and Elizabeth Shue. I love Elizabeth Shue, and I always have liked Kevin Bacon as well. Another one I picked up on is an oldie, Pollyanna. I remember watching this as a little boy. So yeah, I was glad to get that. Another disaster movie, 2012. I used to have this, but somewhere along the line it disappeared. It could have been during one of my purging periods. Who knows? But got that. Also, A Bug's Life. I used to have this, but I left a lot of those movies that I used to show my kids when I left teaching. I left them behind with some of my other teacher friends so that they would have them on hand. One of my favorite comedians, Caroline Rhea. Sarah's Films for Sale had a lot of her stuff. They had this DVD. I didn't even know it existed, but I do love Caroline Rhea. And also Tango and Cash. This was an upgrade for me. So I had the DVD. Now I have the Blu-ray. Actually, this is a play that I was once in high school called Once Upon a Mattress. Let's see the cattail flying in front of my face. So yeah, I was thrilled to get this. It's got Carol Burnett in it, Tracy Ullman. Carol Burnett really was the sell for me. So she also had another Cher movie that I haven't owned, and that was Suspect. And the last one I have from her, as far as non-horror, is Election. I love this movie. Early Reese Witherspoon movie. Yeah, it's kind of cruel, but it's interesting. All right, so the next thing I'm going to show is something that I received as a gift. It's the complete 8th season of the TV show Alice. This is one of my all-time favorite sitcoms with Linda Lavin. Back in the day, it was Polly Holiday, but we're into season 8, so they were on the 3rd actress. who I actually liked. Also Vic Tayback and Beth Howland, and then Nancy McKeon's brother is in there, Philip McKeon. This was from Barnes & Noble. It was $3.99, $4.99. It's the Butterfly Effect 1 and 2. This actually is horror. It just, for some reason, I didn't switch this over to the horror side. But yeah, this was $4. As was The Good Son with Macaulay Culkin. This is kind of a creepy little movie that Mr. Home Alone did, but love it. It's such a good movie. Also from Barnes & Noble, and I still haven't taken it out of the wrapper. I did get the movie A Star is Born. I saw it at the theater a couple times. So this will go in my collection, and eventually I'll get around to watching it. All right, some Big Lot pickups. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with Dick Van Dyke. I love this movie. I remember being a little boy and going to see this for the first time at a drive-in theater with I think it might have been my parents. I don't know. I was too young, but I do remember watching this 1,000 times as time went on. And then I also picked up The Fault in Our Stars. This is a good little movie. It was at Big Lots for I got it for $3.99, so I thought, yeah, can't pass that up. All right, I'm almost done here. Well, I say that, but not really. This was some of my yard sale pickups. This was a little disaster movie called Super Cyclone. Nick Turturro's in it, so I thought, yeah, I'll go ahead and give it a watch. Once again, I love disaster movies. So that was $1. No, actually, I think this was 50 cents, and it's still wrapped, as was this. This was 50 cents, as good as it gets. Once again, this was one of those movies I had. I'm not a huge Jack Nicholson fan, but I do love Helen Hunt and Greg Kinnear, and Jack is okay in this movie. Yeah. Also a throwback, The Blue Lagoon. Ooh, this was so controversial when I was little. I remember all the hubbub and everybody protesting that Brooke Shields was a little girl and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I picked that up for 50 cents. I picked up Varsity Blues for 50 cents. And then they had a couple Charlie Brown movies. Did I get this? This may have been something that somebody gave to me because they know I like Charlie Brown. So the first one is it's the Easter Beagle, Charlie Brown, and then the other one is He's Your Dog, Charlie Brown. All right, and then I got a couple pickups from another Instagram store called Cinema Sickness. He's got great stuff on his site, so check him out. He has everything from movies to collectibles, a lot of retro stuff. He picks stuff up, and all of his stuff is quality. Same with Sarah. I've never had a problem with Sarah's films for sale. Anything that I've gotten from her has been excellent. But Cinema Sickness, too. Very good prices, stuff that you don't necessarily find everywhere. The one thing about him is that he knows what sells, so he'll send like little new stuff messages to you, and if you don't get it when you want it, it's gone. But one thing I got was this Drop Dead Gorgeous. This movie's crazy. I do not like Kirstie Alley particularly, but I do love Kristen Dunst, and Denise Richards is in it as well, but it's a good movie. I also picked up from him the Joyride and Joyride 2. I like the first one. I don't remember the second one, but Paul Walker, I loved him. I also got another comedian. His name is Lewis Black. This guy's hysterical, and he's testy and funny. So yeah, I got that really cheap. And I got a VHS from him of Louie Anderson. Always loved Louie. This was a dollar store pickup, Family Dollar, Joan Rivers. I already have this. This was her documentary, A Piece of Work. Really good. I miss Joan. She was my all-time favorite. This is a Disney pickup. I'm part of their club. I got this for free. Bambi. I had points, and they asked me to upgrade to Blu-ray, so I did, and I got a free movie. These next few are from Family Video. I talked about Family Video in my last my last little video. Great little place. These were all, they had a sale 4 for $10 or something like that. So these are used, but that's okay. Got the Happy Time Murders. I love Melissa McCarthy, so even if it's not that great of a movie, I still usually enjoy her in it. You know how it is. I also got Blockers. Usually not my cup of tea, but I did find this one relatively humorous, and I absolutely love John Cena. I also got 22 Jump Street. Have the first one, so never did pick up the second one, so I was glad to get it. Towering Inferno. I also got Bad Moms Christmas. Love her. I love pretty much all of them in here, so good movie. And then I got Gio Storm. Everybody hated on Gio Storm. I kind of liked it. I mean, it wasn't the fastest moving movie, but still, it's a disaster movie, and I enjoyed it. So I was glad to get that. So those are all really, really cheap. And then the last little batch that I'm going to show you of my non-horror is from Best Buy. I still have not unwrapped this. This is Jumanji. It's the Steelbook. Deck the Halls, another Christmas movie. I love Matthew Broderick. He was also in Election. Not a big Danny DeVito fan, but he's had a few movies out that I liked. I love Matilda as well. I also picked up the Steelbook of The Little Mermaid. And then I also got this from the Disney Club, Disney Movie Club. This actually I got first. It was one of my selections of the month, so I went ahead and got that. Alright, so that was my first haul video. I'll do my horror video later, and then I can put all my stuff away, and then I'll start doing some reviews and also some ratings and good stuff like that. Alright, well, you guys have a great Saturday. I am signing off. Talk to you later. Bye.